Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my MLB DraftKings picks for Wednesday, July 5th. We got a 12-game main slate on for this Wednesday. Got some pretty good options today. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so looking at pitcher, your two aces on this slate are Jacob deGrom and Alex Wood. I really like one of them today. I really like Alex Wood as my SP1. This is a really good matchup against the Diamondbacks. If you look at how the Diamondbacks have done versus lefties this year, they have not fared well. They rank top 10 in strikeout rate versus lefties. They're striking out 24.6% of the time, which ranks 7th versus lefties. And offensively, they've been pretty atrocious versus lefties as well, only hitting a 238 average and a 295 WOBA versus lefties. So this is a really good spot for Alex Wood. He's going to be pitching at home in Dodger Stadium, which is a very pitcher-friendly park. The only thing I don't like about this spot is his price tag, 11.6. That is very expensive. But I did pay 11.7 for him in his last time out against the Padres, and he definitely came through, finished with 28.5 DraftKings points, which was pretty solid for that price. I definitely think Wood is safe for 20 DK points here. I definitely think you can consider him for cash games. He also has good upside for tournaments as well. He definitely has great strikeout stuff. He could definitely get 30+ in this spot. So I really like Alex Wood today as my SP1 at just 11,600. And then for my SP2, I'm going to be going towards the mid-range. A guy that I really like in the mid-range is Trevor Bauer, 7,300, getting a matchup against the Padres. This is a great spot for Trevor Bauer. If you look at how the Padres have done versus righties, they are not a good team versus right-handed pitching. They strike out second most in the league versus righties. They're actually tied with Oakland, striking out 25.6% of the time versus righties. This team's pretty atrocious against righties as well, only hitting a 233 average and a 301 WOBA. So this is a really good spot for Trevor Bauer. If you also look at the Vegas lines, he is a very heavy favorite as well, and the Padres do have a pretty low implied run total. Bauer is a minus 217 favorite, and the Padres are only implied to score 3.8 runs, which is very low. So this is a really good spot for Trevor Bauer. He's really been up and down this year, but as of late, his last 4 games, he's put up 13, 27, 9, and 19 DraftKings points. When Bauer gets the right matchup, he can definitely come through, and this is obviously one of the best matchups he could possibly have. The Padres are just so bad against right-handed pitching, so I really like Trevor Bauer today as my SP2. David think he is a little bit too cheap at 7,300. Given the matchup, I'm expecting at least 15 to 20 DraftKings points. I definitely think he's going to get the win, get you those 4 extra DK points. He's such a heavy favorite. I expect the Indians to be able to rough up Perdomo, so I like Trevor Bauer as my SP2 at just 7,300. When you plug in Wood and Bauer as your 2 pitchers, that leaves you an average of over 3,800 remaining per player. So we're definitely going to have to look for some value. I have 2 value hitters and then 1 mid-range guy for my 3 bats. All my 3 hitters are going to be in the outfield. So the first guy that I like is JD Martinez, 4,200, getting a matchup against Ty Blach. This is a really good spot for Martinez. If you look at how Blach has done versus righties, he has not been good versus righties this year. So far versus righties, he's allowing a 357 WOBA. And if you look at the home run per 9, he also does give up home runs to righties, giving up a 1.16 home run per 9. And if you look at his home and road splits, he does give up more home runs on the road. Away from AT&T Park, he's given up 1.54 home runs per 9, and on the road versus righties, he's given up a 2.05 home runs per 9. So that's obviously understandable. When you get Blach away from that pitcher-friendly park in San Francisco, he will give up home runs, and he does struggle away from that park. So this is a really good spot for JD Martinez. This is definitely a great spot for the Tigers as a team. They do have a very high implied team total at 5.6 runs. So Vegas is expecting them to score some runs. So I'm definitely going to have some exposure to that offense. And I really like getting some exposure with JD Martinez. Just 4,200. Definitely think his price tag is way too cheap for this matchup. He's too good of a hitter to be 4,200. He's just been crushing the ball this year. He's already got 14 home runs, and he hasn't even been playing for the whole year. So I really like JD Martinez at the outfield mid-range at 4,200. And then my final 2 outfield plays are both going to be for value. So the first guy I like at outfield value, Scott Schebler at 3,800, getting a matchup against John Gray. This is a really good spot for Schebler. I love the price tag of just 3,800. Definitely think that is way too cheap since he's going to be playing in Coors. Obviously, Coors Field is the best hitters park. So I think that Schebler is too cheap playing in Coors. But if you look at how Jon Gray has done versus lefties this year, it's a small sample size. He's only pitched 11 innings versus lefties, but in those 11 innings, he's allowing a 351 WOBA. So Jon Gray does struggle against lefties. And if you look at the Vegas lines for this Reds team, they do have one of the highest implied team totals, obviously, playing in Coors. They're implied to score 5.5 runs. I definitely think that some of these bats in Coors are way too cheap. Just looking through them, you got Suarez is only 3.8. That's too cheap. Schebler's only 3.8, so I really like him. He's too cheap. Mark Reynolds is only 3.8. Cargo's only 3.4. He's going to be my other play. But a lot of these Coors bats are very cheap today. Besides the studs like Blackmon, Arenado, there are some really good value bats that you can target in this Coors field. And it should be a very high-scoring game. Vegas obviously has it as a high total. So I like getting some exposure to that Coors game. And I like getting some exposure to the Reds offense with Scott Schebler at just 3,800. And then my final play, I said it already, but going to that same game, I really like Carlos Gonzalez. Just 3,400, getting a matchup against Scott Feldman. This is another bat that I think is too cheap. Cargo should not be 3,400 playing in Coors, especially not against a bad righty like Feldman. If you look at how Feldman has done versus lefties this year, he does get hit, or lefties are hitting him pretty well. He's given up a 334 WOBA to lefties this year. And if you look at the home run per 9, he will give up home runs to lefties as well, giving up a 1.41 home run per 9. And the hard contact, he does give up some hard contact to lefties as well, 32.9% hard contact to lefties. So this is a really good spot for Cargo. I definitely think that he is way too cheap. He should not be 3,400 playing in Coors. That price tag is pretty criminal if you ask me. So I really like Carlos Gonzalez today for outfield value. Probably one of my favorite value plays on the slate. He should just not be that cheap playing in Coors. This is a really good spot. I believe the Rockies have a crazy high total. 6.7 runs. So Vegas is obviously expecting them to score some runs. So I like getting some exposure to their offense with Carlos Gonzalez at just 3,400. Definitely consider him if you need some value at outfield. And yeah, so these are my 5 plays for tonight. I went with Alex Wood, Trevor Bauer, JD Martinez, Scott Schebler, and Carlos Gonzalez. When you plug these 5 guys in your lineup, that leaves you an average of over 3,900 remaining per player. So you can build around these 5. Just plug in a couple value plays and build a lineup around this 5. Or if you want to get my full lineups, then be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. My lineups are $5 a day, or you can get a week of lineups for $25. So be sure to message me on Twitter if you are interested in that. If you just have any questions about the slate as well, or you just need to ask me something, you can contact me on Twitter as well. I am pretty active on my Twitter, so be sure to just hit me up there if you have any questions at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. If this is your first time on my channel, please be sure to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I do upload these videos pretty much every day, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. And if you never want to miss out on any videos, if you scroll down to where the subscribe button is, there is a bell icon next to the subscribe button. If you click that bell icon, that'll actually notify you every time I upload. So be sure to do that as well if you never want to miss out on any videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. I don't have a reason, drinks on nice, bars on heat, just tonight, girls on me, niggas fall, they call on me. We got supplies, I brought some weed, just grab some girls and let them know. And if they iffy, let them go. Got some things I need to do, I got some moves I need to make. I want the frosting and the cake, be there.